Emma had always prided herself on being a devoted wife. Her husband, Mark, was charming, successful, and had a way of making her feel like the only woman in the world, until she found a lipstick-stained shirt. At first, she tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a colleague's friendly mistake or some odd coincidence. But as the late-night meetings became more frequent and the phone calls he refused to take in her presence grew suspicious, Emma's doubts turned into certainty. Mark was cheating. Instead of confronting him right away, Emma decided to play it smart. She knew Mark well, better than he gave her credit for. Over the next few weeks, she began to piece together the details. She hacked into his cloud account and found photos he thought were hidden. The pictures, the texts, they told the story of a months-long affair with a woman named Rachel. Emma's heartbreak gave way to fury, but she wasn't about to let anger cloud her judgment. Revenge would be sweeter if it were calculated. The first step was gaining access to their shared finances. Emma quietly siphoned money into an account he didn't know existed, ensuring her own safety net. Then, she planned an elaborate anniversary party for Mark, a celebration of their supposed unwavering love. On the night of the party, the house was filled with friends, family, and Mark's colleagues. Emma wore a stunning dress, her smile radiant as she clinked glasses with her guests. Mark basked in the glow of admiration, oblivious to what was coming. When it was time for her speech, Emma tapped her glass, silencing the room. She began with a heartfelt recounting of their love story, how they met, their struggles, their triumphs. People nodded along, some even teary-eyed. And tonight, she continued, her voice unwavering, I want to honor my husband, who has taught me the most valuable lesson of all, resilience. She paused, letting her words hang in the air. With a theatrical flair, she clicked a button on the projector. Images of Mark and Rachel appeared on the screen behind her. The crowd gasped. Some whispered. Mark's face turned ghostly pale. Ladies and gentlemen, Emma said with a bittersweet smile, this is the man I thought I knew, the man who swore to love me forever. The room erupted into chaos. Mark stammered, trying to explain, but the evidence was undeniable. Emma stood tall, composed, and victorious. She didn't stop there. Over the next few days, she finalized her plans. The divorce papers were delivered the morning after the party. Emma ensured that Mark's infidelity was well documented, giving her the upper hand in the settlement. With the financial stability she had secured and a newfound sense of freedom, Emma began to rebuild her life. She started a business she had always dreamed of, traveled to places she had only seen in magazines, and surrounded herself with people who truly valued her. As for Mark, his reputation took a nosedive. Colleagues distanced themselves, and Rachel disappeared when the going got tough. Emma's revenge wasn't just about exposing Mark. It was about reclaiming her power and showing everyone, especially herself, that she deserved better. And in the end, she found not just revenge, but redemption. Would you like to adjust or add anything to this? Emma's life after the divorce blossomed in ways she had never anticipated. With her newfound freedom, she enrolled in classes for interior design, something she had always been passionate about, but had shelved to support Mark's career. Her talent and eye for detail quickly caught attention, and within a year, she launched her own business. The business wasn't just about creating beautiful spaces. It became a form of therapy for Emma. Every project she undertook was a reminder of how she had redesigned her own life, turning the wreckage of betrayal into something stunning and meaningful. Meanwhile, Mark's life unraveled further. Without Emma's stabilizing presence, he struggled to maintain his professional and social standing. Word of his public humiliation at the party had spread, and his colleagues treated him with a mix of pity and disdain. Even Rachel, the woman he had risked everything for, ghosted him once she realized he had little left to offer. One day, Emma received an unexpected email from Mark. It was a rambling apology, filled with regret and pleas for forgiveness. He wrote about how he missed her, how he didn't realize what he had until it was gone. Emma stared at the email for a long moment before closing her laptop without replying. She had no room in her new life for the person who had so carelessly shattered her trust. Instead, Emma focused on the things that brought her joy. She joined a hiking group, rediscovered her love for painting, and even started dating again. Not because she needed someone, but because she wanted to explore companionship on her own terms. On a crisp autumn day, she stood in the doorway of her latest design project, surveying her work. The client, a single mother who had recently left a toxic relationship, walked in and gasped at the transformation. "This is beautiful," the woman said, her eyes brimming with tears. "You've given me a fresh start." Emma smiled, realizing how much those words resonated with her. She had done the same for herself, crafting a new beginning from the ashes of her old life. Her revenge hadn't been about destroying Mark. It had been about building herself back up. And as she looked out at the vibrant leaves falling around her, Emma felt a deep sense of peace. Life had tested her, but she had come out stronger, proving that sometimes the best revenge is simply thriving. Years passed, and Emma's life flourished. Her business became a renowned name in the design world, and she built a circle of supportive friends who admired her resilience. One day, while attending an art gallery opening, she ran into Mark. He looked worn, a shadow of his former self. He tried to strike up a conversation, but Emma was polite and distant, her confidence radiating. As she walked away, she felt no anger, no sadness, only gratitude for the journey that had led her to this moment. Emma had found her happiness not in revenge, but in rediscovering herself. Emma left the gallery that evening with a light heart. Running into Mark had been a moment she once dreaded, but now it felt like a footnote in a story that no longer centered on him. She had moved on, and her life was richer for it. A few months later, Emma received a surprising invitation, a keynote speech opportunity at a women's empowerment conference. The organizers admired her story of resilience and reinvention, which had quietly become an inspiration to many. Standing on the stage before hundreds of women, Emma shared her journey. Not just a betrayal, but the lessons she had learned about self-worth and independence. Her words resonated deeply, and as the crowd gave her a standing ovation, Emma felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. Later that evening, as she stood on her balcony overlooking the city, Emma reflected on how far she had come. The woman she used to be, the one who doubted her strength and placed her happiness in someone else's hands, was gone. In her place stood someone who had faced heartbreak, conquered it, and built a life of her own design. Emma smiled to herself. This wasn't just revenge. It was victory, and it was hers alone. Months after her speech at the conference, Emma's story gained even more traction. Her honesty and resilience resonated with so many that she was approached to write a memoir. At first, she hesitated. Reliving those painful moments seemed daunting. But eventually, she realized that her story could help others find their own strength. The memoir, From Ruins to Radiance, became a bestseller, celebrated for its rawness and inspiring message. Emma received letters from readers across the world, many thanking her for giving them hope during their darkest times. Among the letters was one from Rachel, the woman who had once been Mark's affair partner. Rachel wrote to apologize, admitting her own regrets and how she had learned the hard way that chasing someone else's happiness left her feeling empty. Emma considered responding, but decided against it. She had already closed that chapter of her life. One crisp spring morning, while sipping coffee at her favorite cafe, Emma was approached by a man who introduced himself as Alex. He complimented her work, saying her book had helped his sister leave an abusive relationship. His genuine kindness and admiration caught her off guard, and for the first time in years, Emma felt herself drawn to someone without hesitation. As their conversations turned into dates, Emma discovered a love that was rooted in mutual respect and partnership. Alex admired her strength and independence, never trying to overshadow her light. Years later, standing in her garden surrounded by friends, Emma hosted a celebration, not for a relationship or an anniversary, but for the life she had created. She raised a glass, her heart full, and thanked the people who had supported her journey. The pain of her past was now a distant memory, a stepping stone to the happiness she had built. And as laughter filled the air, Emma knew she had finally found her true happily ever after. As the sun set on the celebration, Emma found herself alone in the garden, basking in the warm glow of the fairy lights strung above. She took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Her life had transformed into something she could have only dreamed of years ago, a life full of meaning, passion, and love. Alex joined her, holding 2 glasses of champagne. "You know," he said with a smile, "I've never met anyone who turns their struggles into something so beautiful. You inspire everyone around you, Emma." She blushed, grateful for his unwavering support. "It wasn't easy," she admitted, "but I learned that life isn't about what happens to us. It's about what we do with it." They clinked glasses, and Emma glanced up at the stars. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not for the betrayal that had once shattered her, but for the strength that had awakened within her. Later that night, as she looked at her journal, she wrote a single line that summed up her journey. "Sometimes, losing everything you thought you wanted is the only way to find what you truly deserve." And with that, Emma closed the book, ready to embrace whatever came next. As Emma's life unfolded, her sense of purpose only deepened. Her memoir had opened doors she never anticipated. She was invited to speak at global conferences, collaborate with organizations supporting women, and mentor those navigating personal reinvention. Her journey became a beacon of hope for countless individuals. One day, Emma received a call that surprised her. It was Mark. His voice was hesitant, tinged with regret. He explained that he had been following her accomplishments from afar and wanted to apologize again for the pain he had caused. Emma listened quietly, her emotions steady. She realized that hearing from him no longer stirred anger or sadness. Instead, she felt a profound sense of closure. "Mark," she said, her voice calm but firm, "I've forgiven you a long time ago, but not for your sake, for mine. I hope you find the peace you're looking for, but my life has moved on." That conversation marked the final thread of her old life being untangled. Emma felt lighter, freer, and more certain than ever that she had emerged stronger and wiser. A few months later, Emma and Alex traveled together to a remote coastal town where she had always wanted to visit. The quiet, unspoiled beauty of the place reflected how she felt inside, calm and at peace. One evening, as they walked along the shore, Alex paused and turned to her. "Emma, you've shown me what resilience, grace, and love truly look like. I want to walk beside you for the rest of my life. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Emma's eyes, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming joy of realizing how far she had come. She nodded, her heart full of trust and hope. Their wedding was small and intimate, held in the same garden where she had once celebrated her new beginning. Surrounded by her closest friends and family, Emma felt a profound sense of gratitude. This wasn't just the start of a new chapter. It was a continuation of a story she had reclaimed as her own. And as she danced under the stars with Alex, Emma knew that life had given her a second chance at love and happiness. She had turned her pain into power, proving to herself and the world that no betrayal could define her. Her journey wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about rediscovery, healing, and thriving. Emma's happily ever after wasn't handed to her. She had built it one courageous step at a time. After the wedding, Emma and Alex embarked on a honeymoon filled with adventure and tranquility. They chose an idyllic seaside town, where they spent days exploring hidden beaches, savoring local cuisine, and enjoying the simple joy of each other's company. For Emma, this trip wasn't just a celebration of their union. It was a moment to fully embrace the life she had created, free from the shadows of her past. Upon their return, Emma continued to thrive, balancing her flourishing business with her growing family. She and Alex supported each other's dreams, creating a partnership rooted in mutual respect and love. One day, as Emma walked through the garden where they had married, she noticed how the flowers had flourished since that day. The garden had become a metaphor for her life. Once untended and overshadowed by storms, it now bloomed vibrantly under the care and attention she had given it. Emma decided to start a foundation dedicated to helping others rebuild their lives after betrayal and hardship. The foundation offered workshops, counseling, and community support, becoming a lifeline for those seeking hope. At the foundation's opening ceremony, Emma stood before a crowd of women and men, sharing her story once more. She spoke not of revenge, but of resilience, of finding strength in adversity and using it to forge a new path. As the crowd rose to applaud, Emma's heart swelled with pride. She had turned her pain into purpose, creating a legacy that would inspire others for years to come. Life didn't always unfold as she had planned, but Emma had discovered that sometimes the most beautiful stories were born from unexpected beginnings. And hers was a story of triumph, love, and unwavering hope. As Emma's foundation grew, it became a movement that empowered countless individuals to reclaim their lives. She began hosting annual retreats, where people shared their stories and built connections that helped them heal. Emma's dedication and authenticity turned her into a figure of hope and resilience worldwide. One evening, while Emma and Alex were hosting a cozy dinner at their home, Alex brought out a photo album he had been secretly working on. It was filled with moments from Emma's life, her business launches, foundation milestones, quiet moments with friends, and their shared adventures. "This," Alex said, flipping through the pages, "is the life you built, Emma. Every choice, every act of bravery, it's all here. I just wanted you to see what I see." Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she held the album. It was more than just photos. It was a testament to how far she had come. Years later, Emma's foundation expanded internationally, touching lives across the globe. She received awards for her work, but what meant the most to her were the personal letters and stories from people who credited her for their own transformations. On a quiet morning in her garden, Emma reflected on her journey. Her past no longer felt like a weight. It was a stepping stone that led her to the vibrant, fulfilling life she now lived. As she looked toward the horizon, a soft breeze rustled through the flowers and she smiled. Emma knew the best chapters of her story were still unfolding. Her life wasn't just a tale of revenge or even resilience. It was a testament to the power of rediscovering oneself, rewriting the narrative, and living fully, unapologetically, and joyfully.